Alright. Hey guys, Dante here. Welcome back to my channel, The Burgles Art, and welcome back to another Sunday night stream. Now let's see if everything's up and running correctly. I'm just checking to see if the cross chat is working. I don't see it popping up yet. Check my chat. Try again. Okay, so it showed up on Twitch. There we go. Showed up on YouTube as well. Perfect. Once again, the bad thing, not the bad thing, that's one of the issues that we have with Restream is not every website is perfectly compatible with it. So I'm right now just going over to Picardo. I'm just gonna update that because Picardo is receiving the images, but it cannot receive text or the title updates. I actually have to go there and do it. I have to update the title whenever I'm doing a stream. But yeah, once again, hey guys. So today, as I open up my art program. Today we're going to continue doing some work in my card game, Dunderhead. So last week we did a bunch of basic line artwork and then I realized that the text font wasn't working. So what it was a number of things. One, when you transfer text font in Photoshop, or at least the old Photoshop. I had an old Photoshop program. When you open up Photoshop in Clip Studio, which you can, it transfers all the layers, but the text wasn't being transferred as a text layer. It was just being transferred as a flat layer. So all the text was basically just a still image. In the attempts to correct that, I also realized that the fonts I used originally on my older PC, on my old laptop, aren't in this PC, which prompted me to do something. I double checked. So when you get a PC, when you get a laptop, whenever you get whatever, the fonts in there are licensed to that program, that edition of Windows, Microsoft Office, whatever. It's a license, but they're still copyrighted. So it prompted me to just go online. I downloaded some copyright-free public domain fonts, two particular ones that closely resembled what I wanted, what I had so far. Close enough anyway. And I went through all of the cards, and just redid all the text with that font. I still gotta tweak the cards a bit, art-wise, to make it all come together. But we're not going to do that today, because that is really just me doing editing. That's not really much of creative drawing. It is just me doing editing. So today we are going to focus on this. What is this? This is a mat. So this card game, rather than be on one large board that you could fold up or something, my glasses have a smudge on them, sorry. Rather than this game being on one large board, it's going to be on 5 separate mats. Which when laid out create the board. One, because this actually saves money on the production, and two, because it allows you to basically randomize the centerpiece of the board. So what I mean is this. This is board A. board A and board B are the end pieces. So you have, zoom in a bit. You have the word start. This is like an original font I made, I guess you could call it. Essentially, it is sticks and stones and whatnot. So there's the word start with like a fish skeleton pointing forward. And you have several types of spaces. You have these stone spaces. You have these paper cutouts, which are going to completely be redrawn color-wise. I don't like the way I colored this. I'm going to simplify that. And that goes all the way around. So you have mat A. Mat number 1, which is the first one of the centerpieces. Once again, with a stone, mud floor, like a hole in the ground. Mat 2, mat 3, and then B, which is the opposite side with the turnaround. And B has a spot that says trade on it, and a spot that is a cave drawing. And the other mats have things like drawings of this meat stick, chisel and hammer, question mark, and a tooth. These are the cards. Because when you put the mats together, you might notice this dotted line. There's half of a rectangle dotted line. So when all the mats are together, they have a space for you to put each of the playing cards. So let me see if I can find open recently. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Open. There we go. So this right here is essentially a diagram. This is going to be on the instruction sheet. This is a diagram of what the layout looks like. You have your 5 boards, to make the entire board game, and then you have your 4 decks of cards which are placed individually. That's what it's going to look like in the end when you lay it all out. So today we're going to do some editing. We're going to draw some backgrounds and stuff. I got some reference right here of various fossils. You know, the typical leaned back, you know, raptor of some type, shellfish and skulls. So we're just going to decorate the mats with those individual pieces. There is something I need to check though. Let's see. Those are our symbols. I need to zoom in a little bit. This is the instruction sheet as I'm working on it. Yeah, I kept it where the sticks and stones have like a really heavy drop shadow behind it. I don't know if I like it that much. Anyway. So yes, we're just gonna go ahead and start drawing random fossils. Who joined us? Hey Joe, welcome. Alright, so let's get into it. Let me see. Stone. I'm just re-familiarizing myself with all of the elements I put into this, which is way too many. You know what? I'm just gonna lock down everything on this right now. Locking every layer. So yeah, I have to update the font, and I'm going to change the paper background you see here with, here we go. So you see how here I try to use a bunch of cool little brush techniques to make it look like worn away paper. It's too busy. So instead, I'm going to simplify it and just make it something like this. Just 3-tone, really simple paper. It might be, some people might think it's too simple, but frankly, I prefer this kind of just flat color, since everything so far has like a flat color to it, because this is just too much. It's just too much shading, and it's something that can easily get muddied in the printing process. So we'll address that shortly. But let's see, what should I draw? Let's go. Let's go with like. You know what? Let's put a skull in there. Let's put like a bony skull. Yeah, we'll use that as a reference. Let's put like a skull part way in the dirt right here. Which is funny because it's going to technically be covered once you put the cards on it, but it is what it is. Just something on the mat. I can always move it as well. Pen, good, good, good. So I just went online and looked up like fossils, and I found this cool collection of skulls at various points. You notice the center skull, like the nasal cavity is kind of rotted away, so it's kind of merging with the rest of the face, which is interesting. Where? There it is. I had to speak up a little bit. I had to find my microphone audio. This big old square chin. I'll probably exaggerate the forehead too. Let's bury part of this. Put a bone over here, that'd be nice. Right. There we go. Yeah, I just want to do something on these backgrounds. Then I'll add some like random bits of shading and stuff. Now, if you notice, where's the nice ink line? There you go. It's that. That's that. That's that. What is that? Once again, I gotta go through all these layers. Stone. Stone. Okay, any bit of stone. There we go. Go to you. The trade box. So, there's of course all the lines I keep separate, the colors I keep separate. Part of me is thinking I should get rid of the lines that are like the indent details and just leave it as a flat shade. Only because if you look back at the stat card, I don't have the lines for that. Let me see. Like, there's no lines on this stone. It's just a shading that indicates stone indents. Because once again, I didn't want to be too busy. But it's, you know, when you're making a system, a group of objects like in this, how much of that do you carry over? But I think once I get rid of this like kind of messy coloring for the paper, I think it'll help me focus better on it. Let's see what the chat says. Hey Red, good to see you. Always good to see you. Oh, hey, home of Bronx Wildlife. Hey. Is it Grey's Anatomy one of my reference books? No, but I should get it. I have one or two like reference books. Ironically, not so much for drawing. Go, for example, gave me this amazing book about like old school special effects. How to do like, oh, that's the wrong button. How to do old school like makeup and stuff you don't really see the techniques for nowadays. I do have some basic like reference books for poses. I have this one magazine. It was part of a series of magazines where they would just take reference poses 360. So if you need a pose of a guy with a gun holding a gun straight at you, they would take a 360 shot of him at eye level, at bird's eye level, and at the ground level. But when it comes to anatomy, straight anatomy, I need to actually get like solid books I could just pull out. I have to, because yes, we have the internet, but sometimes searching the internet trying to get that right thing, it doesn't help. It's good just to have a book for that. And there's a lot of books out there that I should just get my hands on. I'm too lazy. It's never a good excuse, but it is Not an excuse, it is the reason. Let me see. Speaking of reference, let's try. I know. Let's see if I can get a basic hand bone. I mean, it's nothing too crazy, but just to have an image up. Could eat them bones, them dry bones. Yeah. Composition. Sadly the main composition here is going to be covered up by the cards, but I still want some background in this. There it is. By the way, so this is the template. So much like before, the blue dotted line is your complete safe zone. All text should be in the blue dotted line. I put all the artwork in the blue dotted line, and I consider the rest of it the bleed. So it's actually, the card is much smaller than what you're looking at. It's actually is where the red is. That's where the card is supposed to get cut off at. So yeah, I'm just trying to fill in as much as I can just to make it look interesting. Raise this up. That should be the output for my voice. There we go. Sometimes I don't enunciate, sometimes I whisper. Nope, that was the output for the music. Don't know why. Should be two different things going on here, but it's just not working. Whatever. Let me do a quick sketch first. That should be a good size for a hand. So I'm putting all the little human bits on this part, and then I'll probably do dinosaur bits on the next one, and etc, etc. There's a nice reference. Perfect. Fun fact, your finger bones are, I believe, are called phalanges. I believe they're called phalanges. Phalanges, or phalanges, with a PH. So far, my job, the time I've been there, which is now about 5 years now in this particular position, I've had two coworkers really screw up their hands and their thumbs. They both screwed up their thumbs at work. They're okay. They're okay. It's just, what's the expression? If I had a nickel for every time it happened. I mean, I only have 2 nickels, but it's kind of strange it happened twice. Just for the heck of it, let's put a small bone over here. Call this the back inks, as in the background inks. Put that into its own little folder. Organize your layers, people. Organize your layers. Excuse me. Once again, now it's because I'm doing this purposely with really large, like 0.6 lines. Like everything's like really large and cartoony lines. Everything that was actually kind of slim is the lines on the word start, because I took the original image and just shrank it down, which is fine. It's meant to be like a text anyway. It's kind of hard to do fine details, so just big bulky things like this, it's fine. Okay. So let's drop some flat color right now. Just kind of like yellowish, bony yellow. A slightly darker shade. I don't know how well it's going to come out in the print, but we'll see. As usual, I do a little search to try and find some copyright safe streaming music, because you know we always have this little background music that's going on right now. And I thought I found one, and it was quite literally this exact same track re-uploaded by someone else. Oh wow. And every time I do find something I think is like safe, it's safe on YouTube, but then like Twitch highlights a part of it and then mutes that part of the video. It's kind of annoying. Once again, for this card game, all the artwork's very loose. 2 to 3 colors for the shading, nothing too like really detailed. And I feel like I've been doing that a lot for the card games. Like I don't know if it's a matter of expediency, as opposed to like making a card game that looks really finely detailed, like freaking Magic the Gathering, where each one's like its own painting. I've just been like, I have these ideas, I want to get them on paper. And it's not bad artwork, it's just super simplified. Part of it, at least I tell myself, part of it is because of the size of some of the cards. Like, you can't really have as much detail as I would like on some of these cards because they're so small. At least that's what I tell myself when I first started. I just went over to not the audio mixer on my stream program, not the audio mixer in Streamlabs. I went over to the directly to the YouTube page where I'm getting music from, and I lowered the music right now because it's just some parts of it go higher, some parts of it go lower. There's one little ambient music in the background. I don't need freaking rock and roll in my ear. So that's, where are the inks for the background? No. Should be called dotted line. There you are. Okay, so that's the card box. So all of this should be beneath. There we go. Now with the dotted line needs to be seen. So it's above the actual artwork. Kind of bothers me right there though. Hold on. There we go. Just so you can see a little pinch of the yellow. And then I'll probably do a little bit of shading. The idea is that the stones and the paper is on top of this ground background. So we'll do some shading on that later. But I just want to do the bones. I want to get all the bones done. Then we could go back and do shading that matches, like this hole for example. Yeah, we'll go back to that later. But right now, I want to do the bone daddy. All right, so that was mat A, which includes the start and a trade. Both corners have a trade. One corner has a start, and one corner has the cave, which is kind of like a what's the one I'm thinking of? Try your luck kind of thing. If you land on the cave, you can choose to try something really risky to get to get something out of it. So that's bones. Let's do another one. I'm clicking the wrong button. There we go. Now for this one, I might refer back to this reference, M. I'm thinking it's a larger mat. Probably drop this in there for a reference. Yeah. Copy. First correct the link, correct the little twist on it, paste. There we go. I think part of me is just, I'm just gonna semi-trace it, just do general lines on it. Scale. Like that fits like perfectly right there. And I could fudge the tail and everything. Yeah. Should I twist it? Should I twist you? You're kind of heavily centered, but you fit so well. It's all about composition. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. He'll just fit right in the middle. Nature Cam, do you get any inspiration at work for your art? Anything you see while you are working? You know what? I'll show you right now. That's a really good question. First, let me okay this. Un momento. So for those of you who don't know, I work at the New York Botanical Garden. I am one of the horticulture staff. And let me make sure I get this on camera. Okay. Actually, you know what? I'm going to switch cameras to paper. There you go. Nice and big. Here's my paper screen. I call it my paper screen, so when I work at an art table, rather than on a computer, you see the entire camera. So, this clean cut. This is a branch. It's, I believe, yeah, it's definitely a pine tree. So when pine tree branches snap, which they do easily when the wind kicks them, they're kind of built for that. They're meant to bend, and when it's time to snap, they'll snap. You get this broken piece hanging off. So the arborists go, and they have to clean the edges. So this is the clean cut. This is what they cut from the trunk. What was left, they cut it because it had completely snapped. Like, it had just broken off, and this nasty kind of like piece was hanging off. And I saw it sitting there on the flat side like this. And I don't know about you, but like the way wood snaps with this kind of curved upward motion, like the way it splinters, it's kind of like buildings or castle parapets or whatever, or in this case stone. So this C shape, this crescent shape with its, hey intern, with its upward breaks, makes me think of like a really rocky, jagged island. Like this is like the crescent where the water would flow in. Like you imagine this all being in the ocean and the waves crash upward, kind of like if you've ever seen the movie Moana. The end scene where they're at that place where all the rocks are jagged and you can see it. This looks like these really cool like pointed cliffs of madness, Lord of the Rings kind of pointed cliffs with this beautiful like empty spot right over here where it's smooth. You can imagine like a little castle right here. And I took this because I was thinking of spray painting it white and then coloring it to look like stone. and then putting it into a bowl and filling it with resin. So I was gonna turn this into this really cool looking island with like a really tiny boat right here crashing against the waves. Maybe once again some like castle, really small, really small. Like this is the entire island. So this, and I love the way it thins out more and more, which gives it that real jagged like volcanic, like kind of like a volcano in the ocean, like this. Nature, this right here is really cool inspiration. Like I grabbed it, and one day I will use it as something. And then the other day, like last Monday, I found this piece. It's not a cookie. They call them cookies when they're cut perfect. It's not a cookie. Same idea. Branch snapped off. And they cut this piece off to clean up the tree. And this is already kind of brown looking. And it's wood, but it kind of looks like old stone. And as soon as I grabbed it, one of my coworkers, who's a big D&D fan, he's like, "Oh man, that's totally like a goblin chair. Like that's either a wooden goblin chair, or like if you make it gray and keep like that bark texture, it's like this stone stalactite that was just hammered, and when you walk into a goblin's like lair, he's just sitting on that." Well, once again, you could take really, really small figurines, really tiny miniatures. You could buy them at like art stores of model stores, and you could stick them right there. And just think of Lord of the Rings when they're in the first movie, when they're climbing up the mountain. The mountain is just this tall, endless cliff, and the snow's hitting them. You could put little tiny people right here, as if this is like a sheer cliff. And these are just pieces of wood, and I love them. So yes, when it comes to landscaping, like actual landscapes, strange enough, I get reference from landscape, but on a much smaller scale. Kind of like what they do with bonsai trees. But yeah, I grabbed these two, and I don't know, I'm just holding on to them right now. Because this on itself is kind of just done. Like, I could just put a little figurine on it and it's done. The other one, though, I want to change the wood and make it look like stone. It turns like a stone cliff. Happy to make you happy. Let me switch back. Let me see. Yeah, right. It's like the throne. I never got a chance to see the Hobbit movies completely through, but I noticed a part where I think they're fighting goblins. Is this one scene where they're in like a cave that has all these cross bridges, and like the leader of the goblins or whatever they are is this big obese guy with a big like fat neck. Like I could totally see him sitting on something like this. Totally. Where am I? There we go. Back to the computer. Back to computer mode. Yeah. I'll admit though, I've done a lot. There's no downtime in the job I do now. It's all physical. You're moving constantly. There is no downtime. When I did ticket sales, there was lots of downtime, and I had time to just draw constantly. I don't do that anymore. Like, I don't draw in a... Correction. I don't get a chance to draw on a daily basis with my sketchbook. Like, yes, any of my friends, they know I carry that sketchbook everywhere. Like, it's my Bible. When I'm not working, it's back in my backpack no matter where I go. Which is why I started doing these weekend things. Because I'm like, I feel like I'm not being productive. And I'm like, I have to draw. Okay, so we're going to take this and we're going to semi-trace it. We're going to exaggerate. We're going to exaggerate some of the bone details on this. I forget. Oh, I was getting confused. I forgot. avians. There we go. Avians, birds, have this like center bone, like as like part of the pelvic bone. I forgot it's actually like there. I was like, what is that? That's a good idea. Thank you, Red. Yeah, the gray one is actually like, it's so dry. I could probably do a really nice cast of it on rubber mold, and it won't get stuck. It's not as porous. So yeah, this, just make copies of it. Yeah. I can make a basic copy and then probably add more detail like carvings and runes, and then from there like customize it. I like it. I like it. How thick is that line? Yeah, it's 5 point. Oh, you just reminded me, Red. I just got an email regarding Too Many Games. So Too Many Games is going on in December? Was it? It wasn't December when we went last time, was it? I don't know. I gotta double check that. I have to double check it because I saw I got an email regarding Too Many Games this year. Yeah, it might be a winter market. As I probably mentioned before, there was gonna be a winter market for retro gaming. They were going to do a Long Island retro gaming. They also were going to do like a winter market. And I was thinking about that. It was a 1-day thing, so I was like, I could probably do that for the 1 day. I don't have to stay there overnight. But I then found out that the day before, they're in Brooklyn. They're doing Scribble Showdown. That's Jaden Animation and a bunch of people. Jaden Animation, not Ross and not Dan, but Aaron from Game Grumps. It's basically all these animators and illustrators are doing the game show thing in Brooklyn. They're going all around. They're going across the U.S. and I bought tickets for that. I was like, you know what? I should treat myself. Go to an event. Go to an event. It's right here in Brooklyn. It's like my version of going to a concert. Yeah, I figured Too Many Games is in summer, so it might be a winter market. I'm gonna see if they have. I'll see what their chart. I'll see if they have spaces for more tables, and then I will. I don't know. I'll think about it. I might want to do that. I sent the email over to PowCon. Or rather, they sent the email out to me first. They sent an email out to people who bought tables before. So this is the 4th year. I actually went to the 3rd year for PowCon. And they're back in Brooklyn. And they're back at the Brooklyn Expo Center, which is in a actual, like, neighborhood. And as I mentioned before, I prefer going to cons that are actually, like, not too far away from crowds. People. That way, even if the con, even if you don't know the con's going on, you look out your window and it's like, oh, there's a Comic-Con across the street. So I sent an email to them saying, "Hey, I'm down for a table. It's like $200 for 2 days, but it's PowerCon, and PowerCon usually does pretty well, and the location is good too." So so I sent them an email, and I'm gonna just stand by and wait. I'm not gonna wait too long. Obviously, it's like 1 or 2 people replying to like everyone, so I'm gonna wait and see if they have tables left for that. Give me a second, just double checking the chat. Oh yeah, I think you're referring to the. Is that the sunbed con? Is that the sunbed? I should know. I was freaking weeding there in the rain one day. It's not an issue of no. It's not an issue of hiding the sketchbook. It's an issue of finding time to actually sit down and draw. Ooh, something just pinged in my ear. That was an email I got. Oh, Red, I tuned into that stream. You sent the email out, not an email. You sent a notification out to join you in the stream. That shoot 'em up game with like freaking shoot 'em up games. It's the one where there's like a witch girl, aviation guy with a jetpack, and then some Renaissance looking dude freaking pedaling like in Da Vinci style, like flapping bird airplane. And I always laugh at like just the weirdness of it. Oh, and then of course the last character is like a variation of Son Goku, and it just gets to me that like in the intro, you have the guy in his little flappy thing, you have the Rocketeer with his gun, the witch girl, the robot, and then the Son Goku chick shows up, and there's like a dedicated like second or two of like pixel animation of just a breast like jiggling. It's like someone dedicated pixel animation to breast physics, and I just find that hysterical. And it just gets me because of the fact that, like, I don't know, I'm sure there's a story behind it. I'm sure there's some cultural reference behind it. But, like, those characters together, I'm like, okay, you know, we're going to make a game where you're flying around shooting people in the sky. Just make whatever character you want. I forget the name of it. Gunbird. Thank you, Gunbird. I just love the zaniness of those characters. So maybe you could tell me why. Maybe it's just because they reuse sound effects, or maybe the actual pixel animation during the intro. It gives me a really like Metal Slug vibe. Like when it first starts, it gives you Metal Slug vibe. Maybe you told me why. Is there a connection between them and Metal Slug? That's what I'm talking about. Like you, well, you said Instagram. I saw it on. It was on Twitch. I thought it was on Twitch. Yeah, you sent a notification out, and I tuned in for like a minute or two. Fun fact about fossils, or rather about skeletons in general. So I mentioned how birds, avians, have that bone that sticks out from the pelvis, which is why they have the connection between reptile and avian, because some reptiles may have that. Depends on the reptile. Reptiles like alligators have two holes in the top of their palate, which I didn't know about. And that's how they started linking dinosaurs directly to reptiles. Or whatever species you want to say. Some people believe that dinosaurs are now their own species. They're not reptiles, they're not birds, they're literally something else. Once again, dinosaur is a broad term. But yeah, that's one thing. One of the cool things I learned when I was at the Museum of Natural History was that the way they first started organizing many dinosaur bones into the reptile category was because they have that hole in the palate, but then they started finding some that had the more avian trait of this bone in the waistline, and that's when they started like doing that weird crossover between the two species. Checking the chat. All right, good to know. Thank you. I keep switching to the charcoal tool instead of just staying in my pen tool. The more you know. I just switched over to from 0.6 to 0.5 to 0.4 because this game, the thickness of these lines would bother me. I have to keep it consistent as like a solid line without the pen pressure, but it was bothering me. Alright, we're not gonna do every single freaking rib. We're just gonna fudge it a bit. You know about that? About one of the pilots being like a freaking dolphin. I love that. I don't know if you ever showed it to me, but I remember you mentioned that once. Oh yeah, so obviously I tuned in for that stream you did with the Tanuki, and just when you were spiraling out of control. For those of you who don't know, Red Spectra does retro games, usually retro or foreign retro games, if I may put it that way. And in the chat, make sure to type in the name of the game. But in this particular game, you can play as a Tanuki or a kind of Japanese princess, and if you priestess, sorry. And if you end up hitting each other by accident in the two-player mode, it just sends the other player into like a spin top. Like they just spiral out of control, bouncing over the stage. I have no idea if it's an attack or just like it's the weirdest thing. It's like I guess for anyone who's played the newer like not Mario Party but Mario Worlds where you could play as like 4 people and you end up jumping off of each other and knocking each other into like bottomless pits. Exact same thing. Just other chaos. Mass hysteria, birds and cats, birds and dogs, cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria. I know the quote, dang it. Oh my god, so sorry. I have no idea what this other hand looks like. I mean, I can't tell if that's like his arm twisting all the way. Yes, I'm just fudging like the pointed finger. I know we have an individual, Nature Cam, who knows far more about animal anatomy than I would. They're probably screaming their head off. Now, that's not how it looks like, Dante. I'm sorry. For now, he gets a little. And yeah, tail. Let me entering. You should also try and play Pocky and Rocky. Thank you, Pocky and Rocky. Shinto Shrine Maiden Priestess. And/or Priestess. There we go. I heard notification. I didn't see what it was. Crap. I heard the notification. I didn't get a chance to see what it was. Awesome. I ain't actually looked up what that means because at first I thought I knew what the hosting thing was, and then someone told me it was something else. I will double check it because I'm a noob. Whenever you host, it goes on mobile. Okay. Oh, so I sent you that link, Red. Just because I didn't even get a chance to look at what it was. I'm sorry if you consider it spam. I just saw it and I was like, this looks cool. About like adding multiple screens to like a laptop. I don't know if it's only Apple. It looks like that's all it is, right? It's just you plug it in, instant screens, rather than have to plug in several screens. Caught my attention. I thought it was pretty cool. And I figured since you use a laptop heavily, if your laptop's strong enough to handle having multiple screens up and running at once, why not? Okay, now we have no reference, so we're going to just start shrinking this down more and more. Little tiny spine. Little tiny bird spine. I actually have not been to Museum of Natural History in a while, but I do love it. I love Museum of Natural History, and yeah, just um, the dinosaur exhibit, the Hall of Humans, all of it. It's just cool. I love it. I should go there by myself one day. I used to go there so many times with like the class and student stuff or family stuff, but just going there on your own and not having to worry about someone telling you, "Come on, let's get to the next exhibit." Like I used to. There was one day I went there and I just started drawing from all the animal exhibits, all the old stuffed animals, or taxidermy animals, and I just enjoyed myself doing that. Now, before getting slobs, I've considered getting extra monitor, but slobs fixed that issue by giving me a checkbox. As you can see, once again, I work off the PC and use the entire screen for when I'm drawing. And I just clicked the wrong program to switch over to slobs. Slobs, Streamlabs open, Streamlabs OBS. There we go. No. Close. There we go. Too many programs open. The issue is that, when I'm drawing, I can't really. They have, because Slobs has the preset layouts, which in itself took me a while to find one that really worked and organize it. When I draw, I don't do it on Slobs. I have Slobs open and I tab into it like I did right now, and it has all its chats on the side. But I'd rather just have a secondary device with chat. That way I can have the entire screen dedicated to that. But I do have an old monitor. It uses the pin connections though. And I've been thinking of like if I could get like a pin to USB port, I'll just have that old monitor right here and use that whole monitor just for that, rather than have a secondary device on the table plugged in charging. But it's not something that's major that I need right now. All right, let's take away the background of the reference. Take away this background. That's nice. Takes up the whole center. Real nice. And I can just do shadows and stuff around the background. Little rock details later on. That's just more filler. But for now, we got him. So where was I for the coloring? Let me grab that. And grab that. File save. Save! Well, save as, actually. Because this is now going to be a Clip Studio format. Yay! I'm not just coloring and drawing, I'm also transferring from the Photoshop format into Clip Studio. No, do not draw on the same layer as the ink. Dante, are you crazy? Little finger. What's the light source? I don't know. I'm literally just adding two-tone color shading right now. There's no direct light source, since these mats are meant to be shuffled and rearranged, so you can have it this way, or you can flip it upside down. So it's just like general shadows. There's no exact light source. It's just shadows to show like darker indentations, as if you're looking downward on it. Like this is supposed to be a pit that's lower. I don't know how well that really comes off, but it's meant to be a pit. See ya, Nature Cam. Thank you for joining us. Always good to have you. For those of you who might be wondering, Nature Cam is a old co-worker of mine. We're no longer in the same department, but I still see them on a daily basis. It's very nice. And as the name indicates, they walk around and they take really cool like videos and photographs of the various creatures that live throughout the garden / the Bronx area. So if you're ever looking, everything from raccoons that naturally live in the Bronx forest, to owls, to hawks, chipmunks, you name it. There are animals in the Bronx, in the New York area, you never knew was still here. They're still here, they're still alive and kicking. that's an issue in the ink. There's the little speckle right here. That's when whenever it always happens. I end up double tapping P, which is pen, but it also covers all the other tools, pens, pencils, charcoal. If I double tap it, it goes from the pen tool I'm using over to charcoal, and I end up just with the wrong tool every time. Oh, just general conversation. So, as I've talked to Joe about it, you know, I did the little video review of Ghostbusters Afterlife since I got to see that at New York Comic Con, and I gave it a good review. I said 9 out of 10. It's not perfect, but it comes damn close. It has nostalgia, but doesn't ride it too hard. Maybe 9 out of 10. Maybe 9 out of 10 is too high, but I enjoyed it enough overall to give it a 9. And it seems that Rotten Tomatoes people are on board too. The critics have given it like a 67, so it's above average. It's above the midpoint, and the fans have given it like a freaking like 98 or like in the 90s last time I checked. And it's funny because the occasional outlier who says, "Oh, it's no good because it rides, it's all about nostalgia," is then counteracted by 3 people saying it doesn't ride nostalgia, it has nostalgia, but it's a good storyline. It's just weird how it's just like they counteract themselves constantly. But yeah, overall, people are saying it's really good, and there's more than one person I've seen on like YouTube, who are more in the like not just YouTube, reviewers, but like some of them are like I've seen them like actually get hired by big companies to review movies, like really famous YouTubers, I guess you could call them, and they're saying, yeah, it's a good story. Like the nostalgia factor backs up the story, and all the little nods to the original movie are just there to be playful. Either they're playful or they're meant to be part of the storyline. Certain nods are meant to be there for a reason. If they're not banking on that, on the nostalgia and Easter eggs. Like that's how you do an Easter egg. An Easter egg should show up and you go, "Oh, cool, that's in it," or it should show up and be like, "This is important." You don't write a script and he walks into the room and he has this object from the first episode of this show and it's on the table. That's lazy. Those kind of Easter eggs tend to show up afterwards in set design, in like little jokes among the actors and writers. You write the story first and then you put the Easter eggs in there. So I'm happy to see that people are giving it an overall good review, because it shows I'm not just a fanboy. I was kind of right. It is a good movie. Then good to know. Emily just pointed that out because, I'm always looking for something that's creative, that's relatively new and new. Granted, this isn't new. It is a sequel. It is a sequel. But it's still nice to, it's not about just the fandom and geekdom. It's about, hey, what's going on in the entertainment world right now that actually is producing okay stuff? What's going on? And things like that. Things like I heard Free Guy. Free Guy apparently was really good. And that was another example of like, they were saying, like, I was watching this one writer, and he says, yeah, like, there are little nods here and there to other franchises in Free Guy, but in the end, Free Guy is an original IP. It's making fun of things like GTA, but it's not based off of it. And there's a great line written by the guy who like was the guy who directed it or the guy who wrote the original screenplay. He says the villain of the movie is based off an actual person he's met. Like the actual villain of the movie Free Guy is based on an actual Hollywood executive who he had a conversation with, and when he told the executive, I have a script that's brand new, the executive couldn't mentally process it. He's like, it's new? You mean it's based off of something? Or it's a remake? Or it's a sequel? And the guy goes, no, it's a new IP. And the executive couldn't wrap his head around it. And there's a whole scene in Free Guy where that happens, where the executive is like, no, it has to be based off of something. It can't be new. So it's nice to see, like, Free Guy wrote that great line of, like, it's obviously based off of other stuff because it's making fun of it, but it is brand new in its own execution. And I hear that's a good movie. I heard Free Guy was actually pretty entertaining. So I'm trying to, what else? You have all the Marvel movies. And I say that with a sigh because I'm kind of burnt out. I love Marvel, but I'm burnt out. Kind of. And I say kind of because the one franchise I think that's doing really good right now, has had pretty good writing and pretty good actors, is the new Spider-Man stuff. I like the new Spider-Man stuff. Some guys don't. That's perfectly fine. I like it a lot. Like, they're depicting of Mysterio, the fact that he's wearing like an actual like green screen CGI suit was like genius because he's a special effects guy. That's like a modern day twist on his character. And the new trailer just dropped, and once again dropping into that whole little area of like nostalgia plus new stuff. They did it again, man. Electro is being played by Jamie Foxx again. However, if you've seen the new trailer, you notice it's not the same Electro he's played before. Because there's a multiverse. There's 100,000 Electros out there. So it's Electro, as played by Jamie Foxx, but it's not the same Electro from the Sony movie, which is kind of interesting. And people are joking because he got Tim's. Electro's wearing Tim's. Green Goblin's in it, and dude, it's the Power Ranger outfit. It's the freaking. I'm gonna say right now, I was in high school in computer class when they dropped that photo, and I don't know what website we were on, but I saw the photo back in high school when it first came out, and I said he kind of looks like a Power Ranger villain. Like, I made that joke back then too. Everyone did, but there was a leaked product. Like, it could have just been like a test shot. It might not be in the film at all, but there is a photograph of him wearing the old school outfit, like the Power Ranger outfit. But for whatever reason, he's wearing like a utility belt made of heavy fabric, and he has like a tattered cloth on his neck, which is purple. So he's wearing like the Green Goblin like gear over his mechanical suit. Maybe something happens in the movie where like his suit malfunctions, so he has to wear like extra equipment. But that was an idea I had way back when they made the second Spider-Man movie. Before they showed off what Harry Osborn's the third Spider-Man, when they released Spider-Man 3, before they showed Harry Osborn's outfit, I told Joe, and he remembers this, man, I hope Harry is wearing his father's suit, but I hope it's damaged, and he has to wear like maybe the head is cracked open, so he's wearing like a hood over it. Like, I was kind of hoping he would wear the Green Goblin outfit from the first movie, but had on it equipment to compensate because Harry isn't a mechanical engineer. So he would need to wear like a military belt with all the bombs attached, and like he would wrap tattered purple cloth around his arms where like the suit's been damaged. Maybe like, because originally I thought he was gonna find the suit his father wore, and maybe Peter Parker buried it, and so like it's all damaged. But instead, no, he found the original suit and shows up in a really cheesy suit. But look at that, in this movie they did that. In this movie, there's at least a product image of him wearing the old school movie suit with like freaking gear on top of it, and I'm so freaking excited. So yeah, we'll see how that happens. I mean, dude, like, Into the Spider-Verse worked, but that was a crazy thing that it worked. So maybe this multi-universe thing will work well as well. Um, I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna come out. I will say this though, from the images, from the video we've seen so far in the trailer, it looks like Doc Ock might end up helping them for some reason. And it kind of makes sense because I found out through the grapevine, 'cause I was never a huge comic book fan, that Doc Ock always had a complicated thing with Spider-Man. Like, and this is before Superior Spider-Man. We're talking way back during Clone Saga. Thanks to like Glenn Carver doing a review of it, I realized, oh wow, so he's always had this weird like duality against Spider-Man because Doc Ock is a scientist. He's not trying to take over the world. He's just a bit of a mad scientist. He's not like evil. He's just kind of crazy. So I think they're going down that route. And theory, I'm making a theory. In the trailer, it shows his Doc Ock hand turning red. I'm gonna say maybe maybe his arms absorb some of Peter's / Stark's nanobots, and it corrects the mental image. That's the mental issue from the first movie. The second movie. Because in the original movie with Doc Ock, what drove him crazy was the fact that the robot arms had a secondary AI. And at the end of the movie, when that AI blows out, he becomes a good guy and like he sacrifices himself to save New York City. So maybe that's what they're going with. Maybe like the Stark tech that gets into his claws, if that's what happens, corrects what's wrong with his mind. And I mean, they're gonna have to also explain that because it's been years since anyone's seen the movie. So maybe he'll tell them, oh yeah, the Stark tech has corrected the mental issue. And that's why he ends up becoming a good guy. If he becomes a good guy. Looks like he does. I'm making that, that's my theory. That's my film theory. Don't know if it's going to happen or not. That's my film theory. Check in the chat. Hey man, thank you Red for joining. As always, thank you for listening to me ramble. But you're kind of used to that by now. And yeah. So, see you later, dude. Alright, and there is Matt A and Matt 1. There's 1, 2, and 3 for the middle ones. All done. Kakai! That's it works great there. Now I can add little details around, little soil bumps and stuff like that. Once again, most of it's gonna get covered when the cards are on top, but it's good to just have them have them. You know, it's good to have them. File save. Nat 2. Gonna get some water real quick, guys. Stand by, okay? Please stand by. And we're back. fix my gotta keep it PG. Gotta fix my neck. Anyway, now I know why certain certain streamers in general have a literal hydration notification. So I got myself some water, and I got myself string cheese. Here. So there's a fossil I'm looking for. It's the one with the curved. It's like a squid with a curved shell for the head. I don't know what it's called, but it's like a very very common fossil. I just know what it is called though. It's like an octopi of some type, like a cuttlefish. It looks like a cuttlefish. And there's tons of horseshoe crab fossils. Horseshoe crab fossils, they're all over the place. That's what I keep seeing in the reference I'm looking at right now. But I'm looking for the one it's like a cuttlefish. It's like a squid with a there's a Pokemon based on it, for crying out loud. Is it cephalopod? Why am I thinking cephalopod? The hell is cephalopod? Cephalopod. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm in the right area. There it is. There's no real fossils of it because all you really get are is the actual shell. You don't get the actual creature fossil. Just the soft spot dies out. All you get is the shell. Yeah. So I have the hiccups too. I'm so sorry. Copy. Paste. Okay, I'm just gonna lock up everything at the moment. Locking all the layers, locking the layers. So it's more or less this shell I have right here. Save as. Clip Studio. Mat number 2. Okay, so we're gonna. Let me see. What is it? What do they think it looks like, based on? Okay, I do want to do like a little bit of. I don't just want to do the shell. Like I actually want to show the creature itself. But there are no actual fossils like that. So maybe I'll put this in there along with a bit of a fossil of a horseshoe crab. Or, descendant. Ancestor, not descendant. Ancestor. Christ, there's a woman standing next to one of these, and it is bigger than her. Like the actual shell is as big as her, as tall as her. How scary is the freaking ocean is scary, man. Okay, and there we go, horseshoe crab as well. So we're gonna draw this guy. shoot this one this way, down to a horseshoe crab-esque creature over there. Pointed downward. We are gonna fudge it. I'm gonna draw the spiral, and then I'm gonna also draw like the soft spot sticking out. Alright. Let's do it. That's the wrong color. I'm not drawing every single one of these little ridges, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna do a little bubbly, little bumpy line and then hint at the ridges. Put it part way in the dirt, like that. It's in the dirt. I just remembered now where I know the word cephalopod, where it reminds me of. And it's, I want to say it was Men in Black. I want to say it's a scene where, like, was it the first movie? We refers to one of the aliens as an unlicensed cephalopod. Yeah, I think it was that. Now, if you ever wonder why I delay my responses sometimes, because I talk and I listen to myself on the stream to see if it goes through, and then I follow up afterwards. Which is why I have these weird gaps between my speeches. Like I kind of want to hear myself say it first. Anyway, I believe it's when Jeeves, his name is, or Jives, whatever. The guy who played Monk. And in Men in Black, he's the guy who gets his face blown off, his head blown off like 3 times, and it keeps growing back. But yeah, I think it's like they go to his place, and basically he sold like a gun to someone. He sold something he shouldn't have, and like J, Tommy Lee Jones is no, or K is Tommy Lee Jones. He is not happy with that. This just reminds me, I forgot to move this beneath the dotted lines. Stone, card box, yep. There we go. It has to be beneath the dotted lines. Should I or should I not rotate this? First of all, let me get rid of the background. He's a fresh guy. He's not a full fossil. That's why he's still squishy. Then I'll probably put a horseshoe guy right over here. I gotta turn this upside down. I'm not gonna be able to do it if I don't turn it upside down. And the rest is just ribbing all the way down. Ribbing. was meant to be a little bit of sloppiness right there. It got out of hand. Every one of those ribs has little feet hanging off of it. Jesus Christ. That's no good. I think the main issue I'm having is these big guys on the side. Like that's not kosher. It's not right. Much better. There we go. And look, I used the curve tool the right way for once. Now, if only I could use the upside down navigator correctly. Gonna cheat. What just happened? No, open view. Do a little cleanup. By cheat, I mean this is on another layer in itself. I'm just gonna flip it over and duplicate it. Normally this part's really wide and has tons of little details in it, but I'm just going simple, people. Good S. Yeah. And Control V. Rotate. Before you rotate it, put you right there. Move the anchor so you rotate at a certain point. And that should do it. Okay it. Do a little eraser here and there, clean up the edges. And merge them layers. If it lets me. Come on now, merge. Up. Nice. A little bit of empty space, but nice. That's good. Let's drop some colors in this. Let's drop the basic colors in there, and then we might have to call it a night. With that said, we'll be finishing up. Why are you still visible? We'll be finishing up at least 3 of these. Let me also lower this beneath card boxes. Is that you? Yeah, we should be beneath the card boxes now. I titled these folders Bones. That way I know exactly what I'm working with. Darken the eye completely. A little bit of a darkness just where he meets his shell. Darkens the tendrils. Once again, just 2 color shading for this right now, real quick. Oh, and in other animated and just entertainment news in general, I've said before, Amphibia is not my top show because it's obviously a bit more lighthearted than what I was looking for. It's still a nice show. They introduced 2 new characters, one of which I think is going to be reoccurring. The other one I think was just a one-shot villain, and I recognize Cree Summers anywhere. And yeah, it was Cree Summer, the mad scientist was being played. This mad scientist, if you would, was being played by Cree Summers, baby. Love that woman. She's always fun. She's always fun. And him and her. The thing is, so Cree Summers was doing this crazy mad scientist, and I was mistaking her at first for this one woman who's been known to do like tons of crazy women voices in The Simpsons. Is this one woman who's like known for her range, so she does tons of background characters for The Simpsons and Futurama, and then she'll like flip that voice from like calm and cool to just freaking out. Some of you may or may not remember this episode where Bender goes to an island of like outdated robots, and there's this one robot who runs on water power. And every time, like, the little water fountain in her chest runs out, she has a mental breakdown. So she goes from very calm to, no! It might be Cree Summers for all I know, but I don't think it is. Whatever it is, I thought it was that woman. I thought it was, like, the particular woman from, same kind of screaming voice as the crazy cat lady in The Simpsons. Who, once again, could probably be Cree Summers, but I think it's a different voice actress. So she's playing this crazy scientist who at any moment I expect to just start screaming like any of the characters from freaking Simpsons. And then I realized, oh wait, that's Cree Summers. I love Cree Summers. She's great. I love the work she does. And then for anyone who's a fan of Steven Universe, the other voice actress who ends up being, I think is going to be a recurring character, is is the same voice actress for... I forget her name. She worked in Steven Universe, she works at the Donut. Sadie, as in Sadie Killer and the Suspects. Yeah, so the voice actress for Sadie. And it's funny, because when she played Sadie in Steven Universe, she plays like an overworked, underpaid, underappreciated, just like retail worker. She sells food, she sells donuts, and she's constantly overworked and underappreciated, which is why she eventually just quits her job and becomes like a musician, a famous singer of Sadie Killer and the Suspects. And wouldn't you know it, she's playing once again an underappreciated, probably underpaid individual in this one. She's the assistant to the mad scientist. She's just, I guess that's just her character now. Just she's always that character who just is just done with life, and it's like, oh, just a few more years and I could pay off my student loans. That's what she comes off as. Like, she wants to do well, but she's always stuck dealing with other people's BS. And hey, if you can play the character well, you play the character well, you know? Yeah, I forget her name, the actual voice actress, but I recognize her voice real quick. I think also because of the typecasting. But Cree Summers, because Cree Summers in truth uses pretty much the same voice. It's her voice, but she's so good at acting that you don't recognize she's playing different characters. She's not necessarily a character actor where she plays different voice roles, but she's a good actress who plays different emotional characters. Crazy, sad, serious. She could do them all, which is why she's good. I think once we just drop these few shades in here, we'll probably call it a night. Yeah, so I'm plucking away at this project, guys. Like, the rules are going to be pretty straightforward. So it's really just a matter of test playing it. The rules are pretty straightforward. You move around the map, you pick up cards, different things. It's a matter of test playing it to see whether or not there's a balance between different cards, if it's too hard, too easy, too short. And yeah, like, I know I should test play more before I do more of the designs, but I think I'm happy with the design idea. It's just the actual test play to check the balance of the gameplay. You know, as I mentioned before, you will shuffle the 3 center pieces of this mat, and you go to shuffle and rotate them, and that gives a different layout. Which is why, like, I hope that I put enough blank spots. I hope put enough spots for the wild card, the teeth card, which is the fiend, food, which is health, the caveman, the trade card. Like, it's the layout of the different things. These corner pieces have these long spots with a sun and a moon symbol, because of the sundial. Every round it goes from day to night, every round. So some of the spaces change. If it's a day space, for example, it is a safe space, as it says right here. If it's a night symbol and you land on this, if it's nighttime and you land on this, you draw a fiend card. It's not friend, it is fiend. On B, it's if it's daytime, you draw a supply card, which is a good thing. And if it's nighttime, you draw a wild card, which could be anything. So it's really just me trying to balance the gameplay. Is it too hard? Is it too easy? And I really, really want to get this one. Freaking, I did it again. I hit P twice. Ugh. I really want to get this test played, because this is the one. This is my first card game that I ever designed. And I really want to work it out before I try to focus on the other ones. That's an eraser. That's the wrong one. Because I have tons of game ideas, but I don't want to keep jumping game ideas until I at least, you know, get a handful that I'm finished with. One of which, once again, is Of Tolls and Trolls, in the Game Crafter. That's a more family-friendly game, pretty simple, straightforward. You can play a few rounds with it with your kids or with friends just to keep busy, and that's that. It's pretty easy to do. And I want this one to be the next one, and then Ascending Assassins. I need to adjust the artwork, probably add one more item to the rulebook to really make it more interactive between the players, and that'll also be a quick card game. A lot of these games are based a little bit on randomness. Of Tolls and Trolls is a bit random in the dice roll, but your cards do have some benefits between the players. This will be the same thing. You're going across a map. So when you might land is random, but you could trade cards and you have some control. Ascending Assassins is more of a roll of the dice, run to the finish. more on the random side, but everything's slightly balanced. But yeah, so jump to start. I have a jump to start button because yeah, every board game needs a jump to start, just for the hell of it. And I think with the cephalopod and the crustacean finished, I think we're good. So where we left off at, we have mat A, or rather board A, with a human skull, a Neanderthal, big bone skull, and pieces like that are slightly covered by the outline of the card layout, but you can see some bits of it. This one's the same thing. It's the card layout is going to cover most of it, but you can see certain bits of it, which is nice. It's all aesthetic. It's all aesthetic. Same thing with this. And then I'll go back and add some soil details and little things around. And then what we have is mat 3 and then mat B, and we'll figure out what to put on that later. I'll look up some more reference of cool looking fossils. Once again, the way the paper is done here, I want to replicate that here. This paper I think is just too busy. It's just too busy, and I feel like when it prints, it's just going to look ugly and muddy. Everything's going to be just cohesive 2 to 3 tone shading. Alright. Do not save. Save that. Give everything a last minute save. Do not save. And I want to say that is it, guys. No. Oh. Before I sign out. Where are you? Where are you? Done. There we go. Put the boy right there in the middle. Here comes the boy. That is Thunder. Thunder, the mascot for Dunderhead, history's first genius. Dunderhead. When you play the game, you are essentially Thunder. You are him. Everyone is him, more or less. He has rounded shoulders, one weird tooth, spiked back hair, big ol' forehead bulge, and big fat toes. I'm gonna redraw him. I'm gonna basically keep most of this design, so you can really like spot that silhouette. But I'm gonna redraw him as well. And between the week, I will do all the mundane stuff like editing fonts and all of that stuff too. But yeah, I say that will do it as I turn the music off. And yeah, so as always, all the videos you see here will be up on Twitch for about 2 weeks, 14 days. Then they'll end up over on YouTube permanently. Check out these other places where you can see me. Works in progress on things such as Twitter and Instagram. Finished works, sculptures, paintings, drawings, you name it. Also on DeviantArt. And some other videos on YouTube as well, including figurine videos of how I make custom toys of old and new concepts. Anyway, once again, guys, I am Dante. Like, favorite, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the future. Later.